Isang mathusay na araw sa ating lahat. Welcome back sa Mathusay General Mathematics Tutorial. Sa lesson na ito, pag-uusapan natin kung papaano na i-represent ang iba't ibang real-life situation gamit ang function. There are many real-life situations that can be modeled using function, tulad na lang ng mga area problem, profit problem, projectile motion problem, at marami pang iba. So, ang goal natin ngayon is to represent each situation using function. Let's start! Example number 1. Give a function C that can represent the costs of buying X meals if 1 meal costs 40 pesos. So, paano ba natin to i-represent into function? So, since each meal costs 40 pesos, then, ang cost ng pagbili ng X meals ay pwede nating i-represent na cost function na C of X equals 40X. Bakit kaya C of X equals 40X? Dahil tag 40 ang bawat meal. So, kung bibili ka o bibili tayo ng X meals, so, ang cost nito ay 40X. So, ang function natin sa number 1 ay C of X equals 40X. Example number 2. 100 meters of fencing is available to enclose a rectangular area next to a river. Give a function A that represent the area that can be enclosed in terms of X. So, meron tayong 100 meter fencing material na gagamitin para i-enclose ang rectangular area na malapit o nasa gilid mismo ng ilog. So, kung papansinin ninyo, hahatiin ang 100 meter na fence or fencing material sa tatlong portion lang. Dahil, kung papansinin ninyo, ito lang, itong portion, itong length, at itong width na naman ang ating lalagyan ng fence. So, ang itong side dito sa river ay hindi na lalagyan ng fencing. So, kung titignan ninyo, meron tayong rectangle, right? So, ang length ay denoted by X, ang width naman ay denoted ng Y. Alam natin na ang area ng rectangle ay length times width, or in this case, meron tayong area na A is equal to X times Y. Ang pangalawang equation naman ay perimeter ng fence. Alam natin na ang perimeter ng rectangle ay P is equal to 2L plus 2W. Pero dahil tatlong sides lang ng rectangle ang pinag-uusapan natin, na may isang length na X at dalawang width, itong maiksi, dalawang width na Y, ang pinag-uusapan, so ang equation natin ay X plus 2Y equals 100. Ito yung perimeter ng fence na kinover natin sa rectangular area na ito. Since we want to find a function that represent the area that can be enclosed in terms of X, so dito sa equation 2 natin, isosolve natin yung value ng Y. So, we have 2y equals 100 minus x. Dahil nag-add tayo ng negative x sa both sides of the equation. Now, to solve for y, dahil gusto natin kunin ang value ng y, we have y equals 100 minus x all over 2. So, dahil nag-divide tayo both sides of the equation ng 2. Now, pwede nating isimplify ang right side of the equation. So, y can be equal to 100 divided by 2 is 50. Now, 1 or x divided by 2 is 0.5. So, negative 0.5x. So, yan ngayon ang value natin ng y. So, anong gagawin natin ngayon sa value nito? Dahil gusto nating hanapin ang function ng a na nagre-represent sa area na pwedeng i-enclosed in terms of x. So, gagamitin natin tong value ngayon ng y to be substituted to the original area equation. So, ang function natin ay a of x equals x times y. Dahil in terms of x ang function natin, isa-substitute natin ang value ng y, which is 50 minus 0.5x. So, kapag sinubstitute na natin sa value ng y yan, meron na tayong x times the quantity of 50 minus 0.5x. Now, distributing x to the quantity of 50 minus 0.5x, we have a of x equals 50x minus 0.5x squared. Thus, the function that represents the area that can be enclosed next to a river using the 100-meter fencing material ay a of x equals 50x minus 0.5x squared. So, ito ngayon ang function na magre-represent nitong area enclosed ng 100-meter fence material. So, again, unang ginawa natin ay kunin ang area. Pangalawa, ang perimeter. Then, we solve for or we look for the function in terms of x. Example number 3. Contaminated water is subjected to a cleaning process. So, lilinisin yung maduming tubig. The concentration of pollutant is initially 10 mg per liter of water. If the cleaning process can reduce the pollutant by 5% each hour, so kapag dumaan na yung tubig sa cleaning process, pwedeng mabawasan ng 5% ang dumi each hour. Define a function that can represent the concentration of pollutants in the water in terms of the number of hours that the cleaning process has taken place. So, alam natin na after 1 hour, the concentration of the pollutant is 10, which is the initial concentration of the pollutants, 10 times 0.95. Diba? Pag dumaan sa cleaning process ay nababawasan ng pollutant by 5%. So, kaya naging 0.95 na lang after 1 hour. So, yung concentration of pollutant after 1 hour is just 10 times 0.95. Now, ngayon, after 2 hours naman, ang concentration of pollutants ng first hour ay, alam natin, 10 times 0.95. Na ngayon, ita-times natin ito ng 0.95 ulit sa pangalawang oras. So, we have 10 times 0.95 squared. Dahil pangalawang oras na ito. So, in general, kung i-general natin to, after 3 hours, yung concentration of pollutants ay pwedeng i-represent as C of T equals 10 times 0.95 raised to T milligram per liter of water. Note that 0.95 raised to T ang ating minumultiply sa initial concentration na 10 dahil dumaan sa cleaning process every hour at nababawasan ito ng 5%. So kaya we have C of T equals 10 times 0.95 raised to T. So kung ilang oras man dumaan sa cleaning process yung water, pwede nating makompute ang concentration of pollutants sa given na problem na ito. There are situations that cannot be defined or represented using one function alone. So we will represent these functions using a piecewise function or compound function. Ano ba ang piecewise function? Ang piecewise function is a function which is defined by multiple subfunctions. Ibig sabihin, may mga subfunctions tayo at each subfunction applying to a certain interval of the main function's domain or subdomain. Halimbawa, ang function na f of x ay piecewise function dahil may dalawa tayong subfunction. Ang una ay negative x na kung saan ang interval ng domain ay x must be, halimbawa, ang f of x na function na ito ay may dalawang subfunctions. Ang isa, f of x is equal to negative x where x is less than or equal to 2. Ang pangalawang subfunction naman ay f of x equals x where x must be greater than or equal to 2. So this piecewise function has two subfunctions na may kanya-kanyang intervals. Ang isa naman, f of x equals 2x minus 2 ang unang subfunction na may interval na x less than or equal to 1 at ang pangalawang subfunction ay x squared minus 2x plus 1 na may interval na x greater than or equal to 1. So, papaano ba natin i-represent ang situation na may piecewise function? Let's take these examples. Let's take example number 4. A user is charged 300 pesos monthly for a particular mobile plan, which includes 100 free text messages. Messages in excess of 100 are charged 1 pesos each. So kapag lumampas na ng 100 text messages, may charge na piso sa bawat text. Represent the monthly cost for text messaging using the function T of M, where M is the number of messages sent in a month. So the cost of text messaging can be expressed by a piecewise function na T of M equals 300 ang unang function kapag ang text mo ay hindi lalampas sa 100. So, ibig sabihin, ang limit natin dito ng domain, kapag 300 pesos ang iyong babayaran, ay x must be greater than 0 but less than or equal to 100. So, ibig sabihin, magbabayad ka lang ng 300 pesos monthly kapag ang text mo ay umabot lang sa 100 o mas mababa sa 100. Ang pangalawang function naman ay T of M equals 300 plus M. Ano itong M? Take note, ang M is the number of messages sent in a month. So kapag lumampas ka ng 100 text messages sa isang buwan, so, di ba kada text ay piso. So, kapag lumampas na ng 100, ang babayaran mo na ay 300 plus M. Again, this situation can be represented or expressed by the given piecewise function T of M equals 300 kapag ang text messages mo ay umabot lang ng 100 o mas maliit sa 100. P of M equals 300 plus M kapag ang text messages natin ay lumampas na ng 100. Example number 5. The fee to park in a parking lot of a shopping mall costs 40 pesos for the first 2 hours and an extra 10 pesos for each hours or a fraction of it after that. If you park for more than 12 hours, you instead pay a flat rate of 200 pesos. Now, represent your parking fee using the function P of T, where T is the number of hours you park in the mall. So, kung papansinin nyo, in this case, may tatlong sub-functions tayo. So, the parking fee, P of T, can be represented by this piecewise function na may tatlong sub-functions, ha? P of T is equal to 40 kapag ang time na nag-park tayo is greater than 0 but less than or equal to 2. Ibig sabihin, sa first 2 hours na nag-park tayo, ang kailangan lang nating bayaran ay 40 pesos. Now, ngayon, kung lumampas na tayo ng 2 hours pero hindi lalampas ng 12 hours, ang pangalawang sub-functions natin ay P of T is equal to 40 pesos plus 10 pesos extra payment kada additional time times T minus 2. Bakit kaya T minus 2? Tandaan, magbabayad lang tayo ng 40 plus T minus 2 times 10 kapag lumampas na ito sa 2 oras. So, ang interval natin ay T must be greater than 2 but less than or equal to 12. Ang pangatlong subfunction naman natin ay P of T equals 200. Magbabayad ka lang ng 200 kapag ang time na nagpark ka ay higit sa 12 hours. So, in this case, again, may tatlong sub-functions tayo or compound functions na pwedeng i-represent or gamitin para i-represent ang situation na parking fee sa example number 5. Example number 6. A jeepney ride cost 8 pesos for the first 4 kilometers. So magbabayad lang tayo ng 8 pesos sa unang 4 kilometers na na-travel natin. And each additional integer kilometer adds 150 pesos to the fare. So, ibig sabihin, kapag meron tayong additional kilometers na nadagdag sa travel natin, magbabayad tayo ng 1.5 pesos per kilometer sa pamasahe. Use a piecewise function to represent the jeepney fare in terms of the distance D in kilometer. So, alam natin na ang input value is the distance and the output is the cost of the jeepney fare. Dahil nakadepende ang jeepney fare sa distance. If f of D represents the fare as a function of distance, the function can be represented as follow. So, yung function natin ay dalawa. So, f of D is equal to 8 kapag ang distance natin ay greater than 0 but less than or equal to 4. Ibig sabihin, hindi lalampas sa 4 na kilometro. Magbabayad ka lang ng 8 pesos. Ang pangalawang subfunction naman natin ay f of D is equal to 8 plus 1.5 times the floor function of D. Pag sinabi nating floor function of D, kukunin natin ang next integer na mas mababa sa D. Halimbawa, ang additional distance ay 2.4 kilometers. So, lahat-lahat ng travel niya ay 6.4 kilometers. So, ang additional natin, again, is 2.4. Ang floor function ng 2.4 ay 2. So, ibig sabihin, ang babayaran lang o ang i-consider lang natin ay ang 2 kilometers. So, going back, di ba ang mag-add ka lang ng 1.5 pesos kada additional integer kilometers na madadagdag sa distance? Kaya ang function, ang pangalawang subfunction ay f of d equals 8 plus 1.5 times the floor function of d. Yan ay kapag ang distance natin ay lumampas na siya sa 4 kilometers. Now, it's time for you to represent each situation using function. If you're done, type your answers on the comment section. If you think Mathusay Math Tutorial helps you learn how to represent real-life situations using functions, give it a thumbs up, share, and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Remember, ang sikreto para maging mathusay, matuto at mag-ensayo. Abangan ang susunod na episode at pag-aralan natin kung ano ang one-to-one function. Mga kamathusay, kita-kits! Bye!